Hello and welcome back to Free to Pursue, or if it's your first time, welcome. It's Hélène Massicotte, and I am here to give you another book review. This time, the book is Money Talks, When to Say Yes and How to Say No by Gail Vaz Oxlade. You may know this author by her popular TV show, Till Death Do Us Part. If you have not heard of Gail Vaz Oxlade, you can easily search for her on YouTube and you will see a number of videos from her show Till Death Do Us Part, along with some other interviews with various folks over the years. She is quite the firecracker of financial advisors, and she helps with more than mere money issues. She tends to deal with the people issues that are affecting money decisions and money habits. I loved this book, and it is a behemoth of a book at over 400 pages. It covers 75 issues broken down into 8 sections. It is a thorough reference for anyone who needs to have no-nonsense money conversations. And as the title would suggest, Money Talks is just a shorter version of the saying that we know of money talks and you know what walks. That is really a good indication of Gail's style. So who would this book be for? It's definitely for people who are trying to get a grasp of their money situation. It could be personally themselves trying to get over themselves as a barrier, but it can also be for folks who know that they have a family member or a friend in a tough situation who may need a money intervention, maybe a spouse or significant other that is not on the same money page as we are. Any kind of friction around people and money could definitely make this book a worthwhile reference. Now, I wouldn't call it a super easy read because it's 400 pages, but I'm not going to call it a hard read. And the reason I'm not going to do that is for what I suggested earlier. 75 topics in 8 sections means that it can act more as a reference, and you can go into that book and look for the resources that you need, the stories that you need to read, and the suggested approach Gail Vaz Oxlade might have for you, based on the situation you're facing. And so it may be that this book does not necessitate reading the entire thing. Now, that said, despite its size, I had a lot of trouble putting it down. And a book that size, that's not usually the case, especially when it can be some of the drier topics such as money management. Well, if Gail has taught me something, is that her writing is not dry. I liked a lot about this book. In fact, I loved this book. I had trouble putting it down. It really took over a couple of days of my life because all I wanted to go and do was go back to that book and keep reading. And as far as what I didn't like about that book, surprisingly, nothing. I gave it 5 stars and it was very well deserved as a rating. It is a very, very good book. So let's get into a little bit more about the approach for this book and why I think it's so useful. This book is the ultimate how-to reference for money conversations. I mean, it makes it so easy to read what we need to do and then execute, because it talks about how to plan for a conversation, whether it's with ourselves or with others, execute on the action plan for the conversation or next steps, and then gives us the tools we need to ensure we follow through. Because it's very easy to say, well, we're going to do the planning, maybe we have the hard conversation, but sometimes in a number of the examples Gail offers, we can very easily see that the follow through and sticking with what we said we needed or wanted to do, or that we need or want from someone else, that can be the hardest part. And she gives us an idea of what the next steps, the recommended next steps might be, what the check-in points could be for a future point in time, especially, for example, if we're doing a money intervention, and really gives us the tools and the reinforcement that what we are expecting out of ourselves and out of others is reasonable, and that it is okay to take care of ourselves when others are not managing this tool called money effectively. Now, what you won't find in this book is a whole lot of coddling. That's not her style. And you also won't find that it is a how-to nitty-gritty money management book. If you're looking for something of that nature, you might like one of Gail's two other books, Debt Free Forever and CEO of Everything, especially if you are a person who has exited a relationship either through separation, divorce, or through widowhood. So this reference helps us identify the problem. Sometimes it's us, sometimes it's others, sometimes it's both. Set up an action plan, and then follow through. When it comes to root causes, Gail doesn't mince words, and I can't think of a better area to quote her. Here it goes. Money is a medium of exchange, that's all. It's what we use to complete our transactions. So money isn't the problem. We are the problem. How we behave, what we do with our money, and how we communicate about that behavior is at the root of most challenges we face with and blame on money. And she says that right on page 2. So right from the beginning of the book, you will know exactly where she stands, and also why this book is so useful. When it comes to taking action, when I say this book is a reference, I am not kidding. She has bullet points, checklists, a play-by-play for how a conversation needs to go for something as serious as, for example, a money intervention. She really has thought through, because of her years of experience dealing with relationship issues where money is a symptom of what's going on, that she has really gone into detail for each one of the scenarios she presents in the book. And that I was just floored by the amount of detail, hence the 400 pages that she offers in this book. It is so, so well done. When it comes to follow through, Gail is pretty tough on the fact that we need to stick to our guns with what it is we're doing. But we get the sense that that bat that she's holding has a velvet cover. She understands how difficult the follow through can be. And with the words on the page, you really feel like she's in your corner, even if she's beating you up a little bit. I'll leave you with one last quote that kind of talks about that velvet-covered bat. Often, hanging on to a delusion is easier than coming to terms with reality. Living in denial is easier than facing up to the facts. Eventually, the dream will evaporate, and you'll be left holding a bag of warm, soft, smelly stuff. Page 210. I think that says a lot, doesn't it? Bottom line, Gail tells us what we need to hear, not what we want to hear. Her book, this amazing reference, is really tough love at its best. I highly recommend it. You can find her book on Amazon and possibly at your local library. It is a Canadian edition. However, I'm going to say that money relationships and those conversations are universal. It doesn't really matter where you live in this big old world. It can definitely be of use. Like I said, it is not a nitty-gritty money management book. It is about the human condition when it relates to money. Other books that you can find that might be useful: One Bed, One Bank Account by Derek and Carrie Olson, The Recovering Spender by Lauren Grootman, Findependence Day by Jonathan Chevreau, and Spent by Avis Cardella. When it comes to money and behavior, you may appreciate The Behavior Gap by Carl Richards, Happy Money by Elizabeth Dunn and Michael Norton, Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely, Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez, and Status Anxiety by Alain de Botton. I hope you enjoyed this book review, and if you have other recommendations or thoughts about this book review or about other books that you might have enjoyed or are looking forward to reading, I would love to hear about them down below. And if you have any other feedback, of course, I'm all ears, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. For now, take care.